Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. Well, the puppet show continues in earnest as we see an uptick in relevancy for Rick Santorum, even as he continues to stick his Knight of Malta foot into his fucking face. This man is so repulsive and repugnant that I will hesitate to call him a human being, as I would further hesitate to call anybody running for office for the presidency a human being. And that would include the mythological character of barefoot / Barack Obama. One has to wonder at the incredulity of the nonsensical and insane commentary of these people. One is left to wonder if, in fact, the clown puppet show of the race for the presidency is meant to cover up some other activity that is going on by drawing your attention to the idiocy and the lunatic assertions of these fucking psychopathic morons. I want to also point out that as of today, the Bilderberg steering committee member, Peter Thiel, has contributed almost $3 million in total to the Super PAC supporting Ron Paul. So, once again, Ron Paul, nothing but a shill for the same kind of establishment that we have in place right now. And that is the continued domination of the privileged money elite over everybody else. And if you are still too stupid to realize that, just realize this. The Constitution was written for rich white men who owned land. That's it. It was not for you. You're not a party to it. Anybody who wants to go back to the Constitution is merely saying we want to go back to a time when rich white men who owned the land made the laws and run the country. That's all you need to know. So, as far as him being an outsider, well, I would think that a Bilderberger steering committee member, the nefarious Bilderberg group, which Alex Jones exposes as selecting the President of the United States, that this guy, being on the steering committee, he would know what the Bilderbergers were doing. And if in fact they selected the President as Alex Jones says they do, then he would know who the President was going to be. So why would he give money to Ron Paul, unless Ron Paul is going to be selected as the next President of the United States? And for all you idiots out there who say this is meant to somehow make him look bad, give me a break. Who's going to make him look bad? All of the fucking retarded morons who continue to support his candidacy, the moronic, robotic Ron Paul idiots, will never be swayed by whatever he does. It's exactly the same thing as Messiah Obama in 2008. If Ron Paul comes into your house, guts your wife in front of you, and chops off her head and drinks the blood right out of her bloody stump of a fucking neck, you would come up with some rationale why he did that, and still vote for him. Same thing with Messiah Obama. It's exactly the same. So don't well, you can put whatever comments you want on this fucking video, but you know what? If you're going to put a stupid comment like, no it isn't, no it isn't, and cry like a crybaby with a pouty lip and tears coming down your face, he wants liberty and constitution, shove it up your ass, because you're a stupid fucking idiot. Yeah, he wants liberty and go back to the Constitution of rich white men running everything. And guess what? That doesn't include you, motherfucker! Same thing can be said for Rick Santorum, who has now come out with his theological assertions, which say, basically, that he wants to run the country as a Roman Catholic Knight of Malta, and that he will seek to pass laws that are in accord with Roman Catholic Knight of Malta ideology, which in effect says that the majority of the people in the country are, I guess, out of the game, because the vast majority of people are Protestant or some other religion. Well, not vast majority, but majority. So he's basically saying that Christian theology of the Protestant side of the country is completely irrelevant to his candidacy. But why should it matter? Because here's a guy who says that your rape baby should be viewed as a broken gift from God, and you shouldn't be able to terminate your pregnancy because you were violently assaulted and forced to conceive a baby by a fucking rapist fuck. And you should have to have that baby as a constant reminder of your brutalization. Thank you, Rick Santorum. That's another thing that I want to point out in this candidacy, and that is as I pointed out earlier, there is this undercurrent of the racism just beneath the level of perception. But there is also an overt attack on women, and women in the workplace, and women in any aspect of life. Virginia has this new law where if you want to have an abortion, you have to undergo an ultrasound prior to that and have the image shown to the patient before an abortion procedure would be given. And because most abortions are performed within the first 12 weeks, that requires a vaginal ultrasound, which means they have to put a probe up inside of the vagina of the woman and move it around in such a way until a picture is generated of the fetus. Okay? Now, that would be mandatory. Now, the justification by people in Virginia who want this law passed is that this person engaged in consensual sexual activity with someone which resulted in the pregnancy that they want to terminate now. Therefore, jamming something up into their vagina and moving it around is the same thing as consensual sex. This is abhorrent. And it's only the tip of the iceberg of this continued assault on women. Well, look at Mittens Romney, the psychopathic slice and dice vulture capitalist. Mormonism has a history of what? Having women being barefoot and pregnant and multiple wives. So this should tell you exactly the role that women play within Mormonism. Okay? Rick Santorum has made it quite plain in everything that he has done and said that women are inferior and second-class citizens. And of course, Ron Paul, with his don't believe in any kind of government intervention in anything, would not support any kind of liberties and equality measures that are supported on a federal level when it extends to women. Therefore, women have their place in a Ron Paul ideology as well, and that is either barefoot and pregnant or in the kitchen cooking or some other respectable place where women should be. And Newt Gingrich, well, what can you say about this fucking ethically challenged idiot, this moronic numbskull who will marry and cheat and marry, and what does that tell you about his view of women? That they are basically for sexual gratification and nothing more. So there is this assault on women as well, and I hope that women will realize this, and I hope that women realize that there is no candidate who is not engaging in some form of assault on women in this campaign. And of course, the mythological character of President Obama, pays lip service to everything. And of course, he's like, the psychopath Mitt Romney. He'll say anything to get elected, but he won't say enough. He'll say just enough to make you think he might possibly want to do something that's good for you, but he won't actually propose anything bold. So, what do we have? We have the same exact thing. I say and I will assert, we have no human beings running for office right now. None. They're either mythological characters or they are gross caricatures of some mutant offspring of patristic, animalistic people in some degenerate form of humanity. And there is a war going on, an assault going on. And there is a division that is trying to be sown between the blacks and the whites on the poor level. So that instead of coming together to assault and assail the bastions of the rich, which continue to crush and burden everybody else in society, they will fight amongst themselves. And this, of course, will include women against men. Any kind of division that they can spur on only serves to cement the absolute control of the multinational corporations and the international financiers and banks which run and control everything in this country. And if you think you're going to get out of that strategy by voting for any of these fucking complete motherfucking useless sacks of fucking protoplasm that I fail to call human because they do not fall into any human category whatsoever, you are sadly fucking mistaken. Because they are all furthering the same motherfucking agenda. And that is the continued subjugation of you, whoever you are watching this fucking video, you. They want you to be a continuous fucking serf. Every one of them. A serf into the indefinite future and the slavery of your children for decades to come to the rich and the powerful. I would wish that everybody would see the reality of this. But of course, the archons have completely clouded the eyes of people and clouded the minds of people with the artificial reality that has been imposed upon our reality. And a lot of people are befuddled and dumbfounded. But I imagine that most are just overwhelmed and numbed by the entire outcome of all this. And are trying to come up with some way of just living. But I assert to you that there's going to come a point in time where you're going to have to make some hard decisions and decide what it is that you are going to do and how it is that you are going to try to effect some kind of change that is meaningful for you and the people that you love. And I say sooner is better than later. So, food for thought for today on this so-called President's Day. That would be President of the Corporation of the United States. Thank you. Good day.